Hello.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm doing good. And how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Guess we need to. um,
So far,
No, we're doing more, so there or there. Yeah, and then down up. You're gonna see this. I talked to Vinny.
Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
clean up the meeting issue. Do we? I don't think we have anything on the schedule, do we?
Okay, I'm adding one thing. I'm adding it as a comment, and that's how I'm supposed to do that, right?
I'm sorry. What?
I'm adding an agenda as a comment.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that.
I just did that right now.
Yeah.
It would be fun if somebody created an entire, agenda preparing and management solution on top of GitHub issues. That would just work. That would be fun.
Right.
Yeah. There was something where if like somebody put a label on an issue, it automatically gets added to the agenda. But I think that broke a while ago, and or I'm not sure it even ever worked. Really, it was more broken than it worked. But
Who knows?
yeah,
How's the recovery, by the way, Jason? Better?
pretty good. Yeah,
Cool.
getting stronger.
Glad.
Yeah. It's just
Will you
just a
make?
lot.
Are you gonna make it to Paris, by the way, this year, or is it too far away?
I haven't decided yet. Maybe, but yeah, it's pretty far away.
How much is that ticket, by the way, from like California? Like I said,
I don't recall. Actually, when I went to Spain last year, the cost was significantly less than I expected. Somewhere around $600 for one-way trip.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, that's cheap.
still a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, it's more expensive for me from Latin.
Is that right? Yeah.
But yeah, you should go. I think it has been really fun last time. And
Yeah.
it was really, really, vibrant. And I think this year it seems like it's gonna be the same. So yeah.
Yeah. That'd be good. We'll see if I can get some funding to go.
Are we planning to have some funding to help with plane tickets? I think last year we did some, right? With some of the sponsorship we distributed to some people that wanted to. I mean, any remaining sponsorship we kind of divided for any flights, but I'm not sure if we're doing this. If we're doing it this time or not. Maybe we should.
If I remember correctly, there was some small amount that we were able to provide.
I remember I got 500 last time for the flights,
which is nice, but it doesn't cover half of that.
Yeah, sure.
For that.
But at least, right, it amortizes things, and that, for example, plus GSOC, that was 1K already, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, so yeah.
All right. Well, I guess it's been 5 minutes, so I think this is probably all we're going to get. We should get started. So I guess we'll start with the conference update.
Okay. So for the conference updates, I have like 3 updates that I wrote down. One for sponsorship, the second one website update, and the last one speakers. For sponsorship, so the plan that I am going with is to have the individual sponsors of $10 and like other sponsorship tiers, and I am hoping that works because with if let's say half of the community members can sponsor $10 to go a long way. And that was my plan. And also reaching out to so many communities about sponsoring. As of last week, I posted to like 10 different communities. I was just this in Minas last week, posting everywhere. And I hope it all works because with that, I believe we are going to do a lot. Last time I was speaking with one about having our recordings so that we would be able to post on YouTube and then have everything with us instead of waiting and asking for the, recording. So if we can get a good number of sponsorship, I believe we can achieve that. So that's the one for sponsorship. Website update. So for this part, right, we did the first update last week. That was just like very, very small, but this week they have added a whole lot of context to the updates, and then we have like three contributors working on different aspects of it. And one of them actually raised the PRO, but I still like sent in more updates. So I believe before this week runs out, we should. That's my plan. At least two of those updates would have been done. Then the last one, speakers. Uh, right now we have only two submissions, and I will be doing more posts on this, and I am going to reach like at least reach out to the TSC for them to actually promote this in their own respective social like LinkedIn and all, just to create this momentum. And I also wrote a content framing just to guide people with content, because I understand that creating content for some people are like a very hard task. So I have like some different content framings for different situations or use case. So I'm also going to share that. So those are my updates, and my next steps will be, please like, repost with comments, create posts about our conference and CFPs and all. I'm going to share the content stream again to the TSC discussion channel. So we can all talk about this, because by the time everyone is talking about this, we are going to reach a wider range of people. So those are the updates. Okay, I have one more update. So I also reached out to API Days team today to confirm if sponsors can like have a 5 minute just going through their products, just like very small. Then they can continue talking about JSON schema use case, just like a very tiny introduction of their input of it, if it is possible. They haven't gotten back to me fully. So once they get back to me, I'll share that with them. So yeah, that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's also that's good, because it's usually that kind of stuff. It's like, what can you offer in exchange of like the bigger sponsorships is what's really the hook, right? And it's what's enticing to these companies to go in. Otherwise, if you don't offer anything in return, it's a transaction in a way, right? They are not paying because they love. I mean, they probably love JSON schema, but still, right? It's because they also want to have some room to showcase their stuff. And I think finding a way to do that without making it annoying, right? Or too much, pitchy. I think that's like the great balance that we can strive for, right? And that probably I think if we have a good story around that, it will probably even be easier to go and attract even more sponsors for those higher tiers. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Also on my side, by the way, conference related, I'm trying to work with somebody I know in Paris that could give us a quote for actually recording the sessions, right? Making sure that we have video and audio, potentially even edit them very nicely. I'm trying to get quotes with and without editing so that we can see. My perception is that it's going to be a lot cheaper than us trying to go and get equipment ourselves owned by the JSON schema org to actually do this. So we'll see. I think whenever I have like a final code, I'll probably share that. But I think, even with the sponsorships that we would be looking to get, I think it might be like a small expense, and then we have like very cool video recordings of all of the talks, with JSON schema designs, around, and the speakers and the slides. I think it's gonna make it look very cool. And again, just more material that we have for the website and for next time. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, that would be really great content for the YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I guess my turn. I've been working on spec update stuff. Being, I guess the thing that's mostly slowing things down is not having a lot of reviewers. So I was thinking about posting a just like a link in the in Slack specification channel, and try to get some people to chime in. But I feel like we're getting fairly close. I think we just need to go through and do any last minute cleanups, and then we've got to figure out the logistics of how to publish the actual schema once or not the schema, the specification once we're ready.
Very exciting. Yeah, I think the reviews are like the never-ending problem, right? But I think I think probably just ping everybody. I mean, also myself included. I mean, I'm not sure how much I can help, but if I can help with anything, I think you just might need to ping me directly. Otherwise, it's gonna get lost in like all the million things I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But feel free to be annoying, and I will go.
All right.
The group.
Yeah. I will be annoying then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it seems, I mean, I've at least seen a lot of notifications. I haven't had the time to actually go look into them. But yeah, it seems like you are pushing stuff forward a lot. So
yeah.
that looks amazing.
Yeah, and the last couple of things have been really big too. And I know those are intimidating to review because it's such a big job. But yeah, hopefully at this point the bigger stuff is all done, and so anything else, well, other than the big one that's in there right now. Once that's merged, I think that any other changes should be relatively small.
So for anybody maybe watching this call on YouTube, like, do you mind maybe spending like 5 minutes outlining what the major changes are? I think a lot of people might wonder about that if they watch this.
Yeah, sure. So the biggest thing happening right now is we're decoupling the spec from the media type. So the JSON schema will be defined as a language and then separately, there will be a media type or multiple media types that can be registered that apply to that, that use that language. Decoupling that allows us a lot more flexibility with stuff like, for example, like it's kind of technically the way the spec is written right now. It's not like writing a schema in YAML is like not really covered by the spec. It's kind of tied to the JSON representation, which is unnecessary and impractical, and people do it anyway. So we're making that happen. Part of what that included was a rewrite of the abstract, the intro, and the overview sections at the beginning, which is part of what makes it seem like a big change as well. Other than that, there's let's see if I can pull it up here and make sure I get things. There's an issue about dynamic references that is kind of, so we've made a few changes to dynamic references up to now, and this is like the third and final step, but we need consensus on whether or not to make the change. Currently, dynamic reference can be it's a URI, but it's like a fragment only URI, and so what I want to do is stop pretending that it's a URI and get rid of the hash prefix, and make it just a label, because that's actually all it really is.
And that makes sense. I fully support that. I mean, I know many people are even, I mean, dynamic references are themselves already a bit confusing, right, to a lot of people. And when you throw the fact that it can have also a static component in that, for example, you could technically use it without a fragment, even though it's a bit, meaningless. It just adds, it just adds more ways of shooting yourself in
Yeah.
the foot. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so this is the last part of the cleanup, but yeah, that was opened like 2 weeks ago, and nobody's chimed in on that yet. So hoping to get some comments about that and hopefully get consensus to move forward. The next thing is about URI normalization. So that was an interesting thing that came out of another discussion where something we need to do is be specific about what kind of normalization is supposed to be done for URLs in JSON schema. Right now, we just say like follow this section in the spec, but the spec says in the URI spec, but the URI spec says something like it can be any one of these 3 different types of normalization, and you should declare which one it is, and we don't do that declaration. But also, interestingly, it says that if you use your URIs as identifiers only, then you should not, or you must not use normalization, which is counter to what the way JSON Schema works right now, and also doesn't really make sense, doesn't fit our use case. So so there's a bit of so there was plenty of discussion going on there, but no resolution at this point, and I think that is something that we need to prioritize getting a decision on, because that can have a significant effect. on.
Yeah, I mean that's a fun one. I mean, me as I'm building a registry, right? That URI normalizations and canonicalization, it definitely has gotten me into some interesting, caveats, right? And I think I second, what you're saying, that it's very implementation dependent. Even if you go and like take a look at different URI parsers, they do different things to different extents. And it's very hard to actually get them to do what you want unless you kind of roll your own kind of thing. But for example, one, I'm not sure if you're, so I haven't read the issue of the PR yet, but for example, one that has been quite interesting for me is if, so according to the URI spec, everything, it's case insensitive except the path, right? The path is actually case sensitive in a URI, if I recall correctly. Which
Right.
means that technically, you cannot just make everything lowercase if, supposedly it should be different. But that can get you into a lot of trouble, for example, with things like registries. Mainly if you're also storing, schemas on disk or in any medium that might potentially actually be case insensitive regarding to the paths, right? So there are these minor things that can get you into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so that's something we need to figure out. Yeah, so next thing is I noticed that we've got something. I know, Juan, you've commented on this one. We say that the comment keyword should be can be used for debugging messages or an error output, which I think is a very bad idea, and we should remove it. So I think that one's a slam dunk. It should be pretty obvious to make that change. So once we hit 2 weeks, I've got at least one approval on that from Juan, and so I'm going to move on to making a PR for it once that's been open for 2 weeks.
What
And
about
then-
vocabularies, by the way?
What was that?
Vocabularies. Is that getting a major revamp?
Yes and no. So the big thing with vocabularies is that it's gotten pulled out of the main spec, and it's being added as an extension, as an experimental feature that's unfinished. My expectation is that it's not going to be salvageable, and that we're going to have to come up with an entirely new way of doing extensions and vocabularies. But for now, it's kind of still there, but it's not going to be a required feature. It's not a stable feature at this point. Other than that, there's no changes happening to it at this point. But I'm sure will in the future. It will either change significantly or it will be replaced by something else.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right, with vocabularies, because also, for example, in my experience with some of the companies I've been working with, like the ability, custom meta schemas and the ability to introducing, new keywords and actually how do you pull it off and how do you implement it in your systems has been a really hot, area of interest. Like people want to know how to do this, right? And they get really excited about the opportunities. And but then they face reality, right? And then you go get like the average implementation, and either you cannot do it or you can do it somehow with some caveats, and it gets a bit weird, right? So yeah, it's something I would love to see what the next evolution of that looks like. I think a lot of people will be excited.
Yeah, and the whole system, I think, is overly complicated for most users' use cases.
And undocumented. So that
Yeah.
doesn't really help, very much. I mean, apart from the spec, right? But
Yeah. I did a workshop a couple of years ago on vocabularies, and it felt totally flat, and people just did not get it. And
Yeah, it's tricky.
So yeah, and I guess the last thing that I have up is I don't know if this is something for the entire community to chime in on, but I'd like to change the way that we recognize spec authors in the spec, and not have an author like specifically for the spec, but just have contributors, and then maybe include like current editors, but I think this is a collaborative work, and it shouldn't be made to seem like anyone has any particular ownership over it because they're listed as an author or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, I think that's all the things that I
Any
have
new
open.
keyword getting implemented that anybody might be wondering about?
What was that?
Any new keyword coming to the latest version that somebody might be interested in?
Good question. So we're not including any new keywords, but we are introducing a new process for keywords to be added. That includes implementations, implementing it, and people using it, so that we get an understanding and a feel for if we're getting it right before any keywords are added permanently to the spec, which is something different than what we've done in the past. Like, I think dynamic references are a good example, where we started off with recursive references, and then we realized that it could be used for other things, and so it changed and evolved. And if we had made this like an experimental feature and introduced it kind of like a soft release of it to begin with, we wouldn't have to make breaking changes to make those changes. So there will be a couple of keywords, at least one, that are introduced as in this experimental state, and that is one. The one for sure is property dependencies, which is like the discriminator keyword in OpenAPI, but not broken, to be uncharitable about it. Yeah, so it'll make doing simple conditionals a lot easier. So it's a little syntactic sugar for simple conditionals. And then there's like 3 other keywords that will probably or might end up being introduced there as well. And again, so these are like experimental keywords that we expect people to use and try out in cases where, in spaces where it's reasonable to use experimental features, and let us know if it's working out, what's holding them back from using it, what works, what doesn't, stuff like that. And then hopefully in the future, those will get merged into the stable spec.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds awesome. And I think, in general, if you manage to go to Paris, I think even giving a talk about, here's what's coming in the next spec, and maybe some of the challenges, both, technical and social and community, I think that would be a very hot talk in the event if you manage to make it.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I was thinking about what I might give a talk on. I think that's a perfect subject for me to cover.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get full room with everybody in API days, trying to go to that talk. I think again it's give based on the level of participation and levels and the amount of people that we got last time, it was again like full room the entire day, right? And
Cool.
people very excited about all these things. I think a lot more than it seems, and we're in these, in these calls pretty much alone, right? I think there is a lot of people that want to learn about these things and they want to do that potentially in person in that conference. So yeah, definitely keep it in mind.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, and there was I gotta where was the like we announced the submission, where to submit from for the projects
I
or
think
the
it's on the
talk.
conference website, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly. I think there is a button for apply to speak at the top right. No, it doesn't work.
Okay,
Well, that's
right
something on the website that we should do.
right now it has not been updated. It is part of the new updates, but I can share the new CFP link with you. Or just give me a
Yeah.
second, please. Let me share it here.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I don't lose that, so that I can make sure I get it in.
Yeah, and hopefully again, if we have any reasonable amount of sponsorships, hopefully we can cover at least a good amount of travel expenses for some like key speakers. I think that
Yeah.
will be fun.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can move to the next thing. Balakrishna, welcome. Is there anything you'd like to update us on?
Can you hear us?
I remember you had audio issues last time. Hopefully that's not the same issue here.
Maybe I'll write to him on the chat. Can you hear us? It's better. Maybe not. Well, I know that Bala was working on the AJV fork, right? As of also
Yeah.
last update, and I think that was progressing. Oh yeah, he can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, can hear you
Thank
now.
God. Yeah, this audio issue is freaking me out every time. Uh, sorry, guys. Okay, I just wanted to give an update on what I'm working on. I have the AJV 4 that I mentioned earlier, published on NPM. It's just getting started, but I'm discovering a lot of things about AJV which are complicated. So yeah, it's like in maybe by the next time we meet, I'll have solid AJV plus to be ready to use. Right now, it is usable but it is in the same state as AJV. AJV plus. I named it AJV plus. Uh, Not much has gone into AJV plus yet. It's right now published and usable, but very soon we'll make a lot of progress on it.
What have been the challenges, would you say? And I mean, now that you probably spent a lot more time on the HAV code base, any like initial impressions?
Yeah, initially, like the first thing that I noticed is the ecosystem around HAV, but the project itself is split into multiple repos, like HAV for draft 4, they have separate NPM package. For formats, they have another. Uh, so, and they have this cyclic dependency on between AJV and AJV formats, which is very painful to work with in the initial days, at least, because if I change AJV, I have to first publish AJV formats and then adopt it in the AJV. So it's a little bit of pain for me to do that. Right now, I'm combining both of them to remove this. Anyway, AJV Plus aims to be 100% JSON schema focused, JSON schema compliant. So format should not be an option. JSON schema formats, I'm trying to bring them as default inside the AJV Plus so that the circular dependency goes away and it will be easy for me, at least in the initial days, to get going. Um, yeah,
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the AJV format repo had a major issue anyway. And I think it was that it wasn't being supported anymore. And there was like, people that were filing bug reports and nothing was getting fixed. So I don't think it's a big stretch to take that over as well. It's probably good for it. Also, I wanted to mention the name AJV Plus. I know that AJV is a trademarked name, and I don't know if you're going to have legal issues if you use AJV in your name.
uh,
Is it trademarked by the OpenJS Foundation?
Yeah.
I guess in the US. I mean, that's actually a good, an interesting one. I think we should probably search. I mean, I see if I very quickly look at the USPTO trademarks, there is AJV, but it seems something completely different. I only see this one by a Chinese person, but that seems to have even nothing to do with software.
Yeah. I could be remembering that wrong, but I was pretty sure that it was.
But I think if I recall correctly, was it like not? I think they wanted to join the OpenJS Foundation and then that didn't happen or something like that. And I think it was about to happen, the whole trademarking when they would be in OpenJS, but that didn't happen.
I thought they were.
I'm pretty sure they are not. And I think Ben was also
They-
sending some link somewhere where it's like it was surprised it just silently unlisted or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, there's different levels of involvement with OpenJS, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff that you have to go through to get to like full
yeah, I think they
acceptance or
start
whatever.
as incubation and then they graduate. But AJV never passed their incubation phase,
Okay.
so they are still at the initial stage.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, maybe you
it
should
is
look
owned
into
by
joining
someone.
OpenJS again.
That's no thoughts on that. If the trademark is owned by someone else, like you mentioned, some Chinese guy, it's a problem even for the HAV project, right?
But it's not for the same class, so it's a trademark for like clothing or something like that. So because it doesn't apply to software in general, which is a different class, there is no conflict. So usually most countries allow you to trademark the same thing on different categories. It's just that it cannot be in the same one. There is one also in the UK, but it's a different thing. It's a financial asset management thing. Like I cannot find any HAV trademark for software. And maybe that's something that we should try to do, right? Like actually trademark HAV. That might be fun. I mean,
Yeah, maybe when AJV plus goes adopt gets adopted by the community.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
found a
talking about that, um, go on, Jason.
I found a reference to OpenJS on AJV's documentation posted, so
Yeah,
um,
I read
might have
I
some
read
interesting.
a blog as well, but they are never serious about it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
also, I
I
mean, just to nitpick, if you take a look at the HAV license, which is what is this, the MIT. I mean, in
MIT.
theory, even according to the MIT, you can use the same name, right? I think the Apache license, for example, prohibits you from using the same name. But in theory, you could even just call it HAV.
Got it. I'll let it be AJV plus for now. Um, let's see if anybody complains when it becomes more famous.
yeah,
I just let me know if I can get into any trouble. If I am not going to be, then I'm
oh,
fine with
I
it.
mean,
we
in
don't
the
know
worst,
lawyers.
well, but I mean, at least from what I can tell, it's so again, it's not trademarked, right? At all,
Mhm.
at least in some of the major countries that you can go tell. It's on the MIT license, and if any in the remote case that it would become a problem, they are just gonna tell you to rename it, right? They're not gonna
Yeah,
probably hurt you in any means. I think that's as bad as it can get. But I think again, like if you're serious with the project and the project is progressing, I think it would be very interesting to consider trademarking that at least in one region.
yeah,
Yeah, I was sure that I had seen somewhere that they had trademarked the name, but I don't see any indication of it anymore. So maybe it never went through or something, or it's just something they were talking about or whatever.
yeah. I'll consider trademarking later, but right now I'm more focused on getting more adapters. At least one for now, uh, so that I would know what it takes for anybody to adopt AJV plus replace
Yeah.
AJV.
And I
So
don't think it's very hard. I mean, from an open source point of view, I would just go and try to send PRs to projects using HAV and saying, hey, this abandoned, use this one, and I'll bug fix anything that's needed. It might not be a bad idea.
yeah, any volunteers. Like I'll definitely write a post in the JSON Schema Slack
I mean, what I
channel.
mean is
Like,
like, not don't wait for them to come to you. Probably just go pick a project that you see that it uses HAV according to the npm, dependence or something like that, and just go and send a PR.
sure.
Be active
I
about it. I think, and you're gonna get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I found some in the Node.js rep or Node.js arg and even Electron.js. I can target them. Then I'll look. I'll try to send a PR over there initially
Cool.
and see.
But yeah, I'm excited about the HAV fork. I mean, again, it's a major source of pain. So if we have any chance at fixing any of those, I think that's gonna be massive.
Juan, is there any particular thing that you feel painful about HAV? Like, is there any issue that you want to be fixed?
Well, I don't think there is one. I don't know what, Jason, in your experience, but at least in my experience, when people use AJV seems to allow like weird combinations of things between different JSON schema, versions, or with some additional constraints. Like you end up writing schemas that AJV likes them, but no other implementation will like them. And I think that's the major problem, right? You get into a rabbit hole and you're like happily implementing your schemas and everything works fine, but you try to use it anywhere else AJV and it breaks, right? The implementations will choke at the schema. And that seems to be in many different ways. I'm sure I can pinpoint or at least get a list, but I've seen at least many cases of, this is invalid, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
they allow non-standard, definitely non-standard JSON schema stuff. Yeah, let's see.
yeah. For me, the biggest issue is that the dynamic references don't work properly.
That one too, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably you know the biggest blocker with AJB. And then also their strict mode has some pretty poorly thought out rules that that end up forcing you to write schemas that are not ideal. So obviously, like just having those on is a violation of the spec because it says that some schemas that are valid are not. So at least like it needs to be, strict mode needs to be off by default. And then better yet, either remove some of the problematic rules or make them better so that they make sense.
Yeah, sure. That's the top item in my list, like making strict flag go away, making JSON schema a standard in the AJV plus.
I mean, a bit of an aside, but just thinking of it, so I think, and mainly for on Edikachi, because AJV still has a lot of current sponsors, right? Despite being pretty much abandoned, a lot of people are still donating to that. A lot of organizations are donating to that. And I think if you are looking for more sponsorships for the conference, or companies who might want to actually send somebody to present, companies that are, I mean, again, not only sponsoring JSONschema.org, but the ones that are sponsoring AJV, those might be organizations worth reaching out to saying, hey, do you want to donate for the conference and actually come in and present?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we can ask them like the pain that they're in. They can talk about that using AJV, or what they want AJV to be doing right now.
Or anything really, right? I mean, just how they
Yeah,
use JSON
anything.
schema or whatever. But I think, I mean, as with most conferences, I think you have to go at the beginning and just and manually recruit good speakers. And I think again, those companies can be a good source as they're already, putting money on JSON schema ecosystem stuff.
The
Thank
top
you.
two of them are like called Saibuzu, and ESLint is second most contributor.
The first one is what again?
Saibuzu, like here is the list. Uh, Let me share this. Saibuzu, I think it's a Chinese company.
And even, I mean, if we widen the scope of that, I think another good task would be trying to convince all of those people to donate to the JSON schema org instead.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a look at this week and start my work or continue my work. Looks good.
Even Airbnb, Stoplight, Retool, they all sponsor.
Well, Airbnb is one of our sponsors too. So they're already sponsoring us.
Yeah, and I bet they might have somebody even in the Paris area that could just come and present.
Mhm.
This is a very promising list, and I'm going to deep dive. Do you think that I should reach out to like their what's it called, random mail, like example info at the company name, or I should find like someone in the company and reach out, like let's say CTO or engineering lead? Which would be
I
the
think
best?
you try to find the right person, right? I think if you use the generic emails, it's probably gonna get somewhere and it's gonna be bounced around internally like 10 times and then it's gonna fall through the cracks. But I think, that problem itself, it's a meta problem in a way, right? Because I think we as an org, we haven't spent the time to properly build relationships with these companies, because in a company it's not like an abstract thing, it's usually the people. And I think, for example, things like figuring out, maybe the first time is going to be hard, but if we manage to get them into the conference, right, we're going to know them, right, in person. And we're going to know exactly what point of contacts do we have on them, and then it makes the entire relationship easier. It's just that we're even missing that, right? We don't even know who to reach out to or who's even donating, which is, yeah, I think it's a deeper problem. But I'm not sure there is an easy answer. I think you might have to ask around even then inside the company to see who they can redirect you to, or on LinkedIn. I'm not sure.
All right, I will do some research on that.
Shall we use the upcoming conference as a feedback mechanism to collect these data as well? Like use
Definitely.
that booth, JSON Schema booth to collect this feedback. Whoever
Yeah,
attends
exactly.
the conference, let's collect where they are from, which company they are coming from, and let's ask if they can provide any contacts for these kind of communications. Like we can also ask them if they um, org is using AJV or any of the JSON schema tooling.
So, really, I personally do not want it to be related to AJV. Like I want it to come via JSON schema. I
Yeah,
don't know.
let's ask them about JSON schema tools, but we can also specify that AJV, we are working on AJV fork, and if they're interested in this work or not, right? So that they will know that AJV is getting inside the landscape of JSON schema. I'll be like talking about these conferences, like I'll be at the API Days Bangalore, where I can try to talk about AJV at the booth at least. Might not be a talk. We can collect some feedback when
To
I'm
be honest,
there.
even if you cannot make it, for example, to the and this, I think, something that we discussed last year, but I don't think we are ready maybe for this year or not. But we discussed the option of at least allowing some people that cannot make it to the real conference, the JSON Schema track, to pre-record a talk. And we're not gonna play it at the conference itself, but if we can list it on the conference website and put it on YouTube. We don't really lose anything for doing that. So, for example, you, Bala, if you wanna, as you progress your work, if you can have yourself and maybe some slides, recorded, and we can. At least I volunteer to do any video editing, if you need to. but you can talk about, for example, what you're doing for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. We can just put on YouTube.
Sure, sure. I can.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think the reality though is I think most people are gonna say yes, it's a great idea, I'll do it, and then they're gonna get lazy about actually recording themselves, which is different if you commit yourself, to giving a talk at the real thing in person. You cannot just bail out.
Yeah,
So, but still, I think
it
maybe some people
happens.
will.
It happens. Um, yeah. By when do we need this? Because I want to have AJV in a particular state for me to go out
9th
in
December
public.
is
That's
the
why
is
I'm
the
not even
date.
writing anything
So
on the JSON schema
if you have
Slack
it on
as
then,
well.
it will be fun to host it that day.
When is the conference, by the way?
December, 9th December.
No, that we this feels doable.
Cool.
9th. Okay.
Even for you, Jason, right? I think if you cannot make it, I mean, this might be another round.
Jason, you should be there in
That's true,
person,
huh?
I feel.
Yeah, well, it's like halfway around the world, so it's not so easy to just say, yeah, well, I think
Where are
I'll
you
stop
from,
by.
by the way?
I'm
Where
I'm
do you
in
live, Jason?
I'm in California.
Okay. Bhuvan, you also need to travel a long distance, right?
Yeah,
To go
long
to
trip for
Paris.
me. But it's worth it. Like, again, last time it was worth it. That's why I also encourage you, Jason, to try to make it happen. It was much better than I thought.
Does Jason get any sponsorship from the JSON schema to
That's
attend?
probably. I think, I mean, depending on the level of sponsorship that we have, I think if we, again, if we have a lot of remaining money in there, we might as well use it for something productive. I don't think it's, I think it's a very easy sell. We just need to get sponsors, right? But I think we will.
How
There's
is that
also
sponsorship going on? Do we have any numbers? Like, are we doing good with the sponsorships?
Right now we are not, but we have, I'll use the word green light, but as at this moment, we are not.
So how are we positioning these talks? Like who's showing interest to talk at this conference? Like if they are from corporates, like did we contact them to ask for sponsorships?
Okay, so for talks, right, the way we are going with it right now is to have a general call for speakers posts. And now, after this call, I've had a new marketing idea to reach out to some of the sponsors sponsoring AJV to talk to them about sponsoring the JSON Schema conference and also probably having a talk around JSON Schema, right? So that's the second part of it. But right now, we just have this general call for speakers form that anyone can fill out, and it will be reviewed. If you have a better idea, please, you can share, and I'm open to iterating and making it better, definitely.
I think we should talk more with those people who are interested. Like if they are coming from an organization, we might get some like they'll help us get some sponsorships if they are so interested
I mean,
in
I think
talking
the
about.
reality though is that even it takes a lot of chasing down, right? I think it's like the only way that I've seen when I was also looking into these from other open source projects and talking to other people, doing that kind of work. and it's just, going and talking to all of them, finding the one that care, and even when they say yes, they will actually not do it unless you follow up like 4 times, mainly in a big corporation. And then you have to keep talking to them, because otherwise, the guy that approved these, they moved on to another company, and there is a new manager, they don't know about this, and they stop sponsoring, and it's this never ending reaching out to people and pretty much telling, please donate, please donate, please donate every single time to everybody. That seems to be the only way it works. But there are no shortcuts, right?
So painful.
Somebody has to put in the boring work of doing all of that.
Yeah. Also, I am also sent a follow-up mail after every CFP submission to thank them and also chip in the sponsorship aspect of it. I think Guane would have seen it. So
I said yes. I publicly commit myself to a 4-figure sponsorship. I'm just waiting to know the details about the gold and platinum or whatever, just to make an informed decision. But yeah, count me.
Awesome. We should find more such things.
Yeah, another thing to consider is that we are not using our full budget right now, and so we can use some of that as as additional help for the for conference and speakers as well.
what budget, sorry?
I'm sorry, say again.
What budget?
We have a budget for certain things, like we're paying for a community manager and spec authors, and right now there's some stuff left over that we were going to use for like what do we call grants for specific things, but we're not using that right now. So that I think is those grants that we haven't been using, we can use towards conference expenses and speaker travel expenses.
Okay. Mentioning of grants, it's I just remember something. I was thinking if there is a possibility for us to have like a dedicated triage member that can be working on what's it called, resolving so many issues on the repository, because right now we have like a whole lot of issues that are stayed for a while, and it's just there. And most of them I do not have good context, because they are like technical, and I do not know what to do about it. So possibility for that, so that it can be under the grants.
Yeah, that was one of the things that that I had originally proposed that that we spend some of our money on is giving money to people who are maintaining those websites, because I don't think anybody is for most of them. Like the website right now, I think there's like 1 or 2 guys who are kind of intermittently helping out, but nobody really owns some of these resources right now. And I think having like a specific role that has a little bit of money behind it would be a lot of incentive, or would be a good incentive for people to help out with that.
It's in KPI, by the way. They have like a bounty program, for example,
Yeah.
they put issues in a GitHub project, and if you finish any of the tasks, you get like a little stipend, like I don't know, 50, 100, something like that. And they use that to just get a lot of random people involved, right?
Mm.
So that's something that we can try as well.
Well, I don't think we have a problem with random people getting involved. We got plenty of those, but I think
Yes.
like triaging those and assigning them to people and reviewing them and like that side of things. That's where I think we're lacking right now.
By the way, Onitikachi, are you gonna be in the you're gonna be in the conference, right? At least that's a plan.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because I mean that would be another thing. I mean, just presenting. I remember that Benja last time he did a great talk about the state of the community and
Yeah.
things that we are lacking on, and just just surfacing all these things. Hey, like this is where we're facing issues in the schema, in the JSON schema org, which is potentially a lot more simple, and silly than people think, right? It's like, can you help us triage issues, right? And just saying that I think it's also fun content. I think people enjoyed Benja's talk last time as well, and it was related to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Behind the scenes on an open source project.
Yeah.
How the sausage is made, right?
Yeah.
Nobody tells you.
Do you think that we can work on this right now or after the conference?
I mean,
We're
if
going.
any, we should do it yesterday, probably, right?
Okay. 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 Come, let me write it down. I am going to create like a working document on this, and also a form to get submissions. And if you are interested in reviewing the submissions, I'll also add Jason and go on to the sheets.
I think we should do that when we get more, right? I mean, I think last time what we did was exactly that. I think we got all of the DSCs to vote on the proposals, and that's how we decided kind of the program. I think we can do that, but potentially when we have more, because right now we have 2, right? Only. But I think once we have like, I don't know, 10 or whatever, it's enough of a threshold, then we can do like a round of voting. Just to see which ones we take.
When you say when we have more of what?
I think last time we did it on a Google Sheet. I think Ben had created a Google Sheet with our names, and we would put like a score from 0, I think, to 10 to which talk we wanted to see. And then based on all that, we determine which ones to accept and which ones to reject for the schedule. It was something like that.
Oh, I get that. I was talking about the what's it called? Triage program.
Oh, the triage program. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Benha had something at least started for that as well. So it might be worth reaching out to him and seeing what's in place at the moment.
Yeah, I think we need to get more organized. I think that's a general theme. I think we have stuff somewhere that ties together in some way. But,
Yeah. And I think there was a lot of stuff that Benha was doing that nobody else really knew or understood. And now that he's taken a step back, nobody really understands or knows what's in place or what was planned. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I think that's a cool call. I think I do have to drop off. But I think we're discussing cool stuff, and it's perfect time, right? Also, as a JSON schema track, gets closer, people get a lot more excited about these things. We should use, I think, the momentum to just recruit the sponsors, recruit people, get a lot of movement in the org. I think we can. It's just, it's hard work.
Yeah. And I love that even though like we didn't have a particular agenda to talk about today, we still have plenty of things to discuss, and this was really productive call. Yeah.
I think that's usually the case. It's just that, yeah, we don't have these spaces, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can talk about JSON schema for days long, no stop. But
Yeah.
We'll
All right,
make that
yeah.
happen. All
Yeah.
the best, guys.
Yeah, we should call it here. We're already plenty over time.
Yes. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you all
Bye, guys. Thank you.
next time.